Hey, g'day team. How you doing? Welcome back to Dunedin in New Zealand. Thanks for all the lovely new friends that I've made on YouTube since this whole flat earth drama debate idea started. So thanks for signing up and subscribing if that has been you. And I thought I should probably give you an update as to where we're at right now, and also an update as to where to go from here, because I've had a few thoughts and a bit of an epiphany over this time as well. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then you should have a look in the description. I'll put a link to the last video, which is far too long. I acknowledge that from the start, so I apologize about that. But I was trying to set up a new series of debates. Interestingly, those are coming along, and there are plenty of other topics and debates that are going to happen there. So if you're someone who likes online debates and you like to, think about some interesting topics, then make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel, and there will be some interesting ones coming up, including we've got one that we're lining up on housing prices. We've got some New Zealand politicians involved with that. We're going to have one coming up on New Zealand. Slip of the tongue, Freudian. America is the greatest country in the world. And the reason I say that is the way we're setting them up is to have a moot and argue to it. Again, for those of you who aren't involved in the debate world or weren't at school, a moot is certainly simply a question or a statement to argue to and for. So if we say America or USA is the greatest country in the world, that's the moot, and you'll have one person arguing yes, it's true, and one person arguing no, it's not. So anyway, I love flat earth conversations. I find them very entertaining, and I've had a couple of really interesting chats along the way. One with Mark Sargent. Of course, most people who know the flat earth know who he is. If you go back and have a look at the last video, there's some links in there to those things as well. And I've connected to Conspiracy Catz, who, again, some of you may know. For those of you who don't, maybe you're one of my followers coming on board to this conversation. He is a educator of science. He's a science teacher, and he does YouTube videos based around, again, science issues and science topics, and a lot around debunking the flat earth. I met a guy called Nathan Oakley. When I say met, I cyber met, introduced myself, invited this guy Nathan to come do a debate. He said yes. He then heard his opposition was going to be Conspiracy Catz, who's the other gentleman, and then basically the shit hit the fan. As I say, look at the other video, have a squiz through that. Long story short is it got more and more and more and more and more inflated, and it ended up that I felt, whilst it was an uncomfortable thing for me to do, I needed to release the email chain of information between me and Nathan to set the record straight. It started to turn into a he said. There were lies being told, and the only way to straighten those out was to release the email transcript. It's not something I've ever done before. As I said, I'm not 100% comfortable with doing that, but I did it to clear up any misconceptions. And I think that did it. One of the things that's been interesting about that, and if you have a look back at that video, it's had 600 comments or something on it, so it's been pretty busy, is there's not really anyone in that flat earth world, no fans of Nathan, actually defending his emails in the way he spoke, which I find to be particularly interesting, because if you are just joining us, it became very toxic very quickly, and you'll see that in the emails if you go back and check over what we've been doing. And no one has said of Nathan he did the right thing in speaking the way he spoke. Some people have tried to spin the idea of, he was right to decline or whatever. Anyway, we won't get into that decline debate now. If you don't know what I'm talking about, well, then you do need to go have a look at it. So that's where we were. And now where we are is, as I've said, my debate idea is continuing on. So make sure you're subscribed to see some of those upcoming debates. Here in New Zealand, we've just gone to a level 4 lockdown thanks to COVID. So we're all basically locked away in our homes at the moment. Probably will be for another week or so. That's hindered what I'm doing a little bit, but so rather than doing something in a week, we might do it in 2 weeks, but I'll keep you up to date on that as well. As to the flat earth debate, I don't know if that can happen anymore. I've contacted some other flat earthers. I've had one of them basically responding similarly to Nathan, but he was very upfront. He just went, and I'm sure Catz won't mind me saying this, he just went, oh, bullshit, I don't want to get involved with that loser Catz. No, But he was, in one email, we finished the conversation. He made a statement. He said no problems with that. The reason I'm not mentioning his name is because that's fine. I also contacted a couple of other guys, and I won't mention their names because I don't want people to think that they're quote unquote running away from a debate, because they're not, who have said they don't have time, or a couple of people who said they don't debate. And I know some on the Science Globe side, like Simon Dan, don't debate. There was a couple on the Flat Earth side who said they just don't debate. They don't do it. They're not interested in doing it. Fine. And there's been 3 or 4 people who I have yet to hear back from. So I don't know if it's going to happen. Possibly the interactions with Nathan has contributed to that, but that's fine. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. It would have been a fun one, but again, I will keep trying. And if you're a Flat Earth person and you'd like to go up against Catz, you're more than welcome to hit me up in my DMs, or just go to the Department of Conversation on Facebook and message us there, and we can see if something can still happen. But whether it does or doesn't, we'll see from there. But this is the thing. I had a little bit of a revelation in the last week or so. And the revelation is quite simply, I don't think people are doing debates well on the internet. Might be a bit of a no-brainer, that question, because, a lot of them are dumpster fires, no matter how much we try for them not to be. But what I realised, and this, many of you may already have this, you might be going, well, duh, of course, Pat, we knew that already. But what I've realised is when I listen to debates, what I hear is 2 people attacking each other. Now, that may not be a fair representation of every debate out there. I haven't seen every debate out there. Fine. But what I hear is 2 people attacking each other. And you hear things like, oh, I obliterated them, or I eviscerated them, or I beat them so easily. And what I realised is you guys who do that have this wrong. You have the debate wrong. A proper debate set up with a moot is actually not about beating the other person. It's about educating the audience. And when you start to think about it like that, it totally frees you up to get involved with debates with people that you might not normally get involved with. So, for example, my kind of Catz Oakley debate, Nathan had some stipulations that he wanted to have in place, and I said no to those stipulations, so it didn't happen. Those stipulations shouldn't matter, in my opinion, because we're giving someone a chance to influence the audience. I think people see this as us giving them a chance to obliterate the other person. And I think that's where it's going wrong online in a lot of these debates. So let's have a quick listen to a debate show just for a couple of minutes, and you see if you think that these guys are trying to educate the audience, both sides, or measure their dicks.
That would be ridiculous.
Below a tangent.
You're not suggesting. Wait, Nathan. You're not suggesting that angled sides make
I'm just
things.
trying to get clarity. What do you mean a tangent? Drop below a tangent.
Wait, no, you're not suggesting that angular sides would make things drop below.
You're not
listening.
Are you? You've got verbal diarrhea, Craig. Yeah. Do you want to try and listen to any of the responses, or maybe constantly talk through every response?
Is that what you're suggesting?
It's going to be constantly talk through every response. What tangent?
Nathan, is that what you're suggesting?
You just keep talking, Craig, and ignoring me. He's very triggered. Maybe he needs that couple of minutes, right, ladies and gentlemen? Doesn't seem to be listening to the responses. He's just filibustering.
So I don't need to assume.
So you're begging the question, you fat man-tit twat. Yeah, that's assuming you're drawing a straight line to a curved surface. That's begging the question. How stupid are you?
If you're measuring...
A curved surface that you're assuming? Then you're begging the question, Craig.
Oh, what's that, Slappy?
So back to the ad homs. You're assuming a tangent. That would be a straight line to a curved surface. He's a moron. He's used a fallacy.
No, you're using the fallacy.
You're using a fallacy. No, you're using one. No, I'm not, Craig. You are. You're begging the question. You're assuming a curved surface that you can draw a tangent to.
Yeah. Now, look, I know that was Nathan Oakley's page, and I know that many of you are probably rolling your eyes going, well, it's a terrible example. But actually, I want to be clear. I think both parties in that conversation it wasn't a debate. Both sides were arguing. Both sides were using ad hominems. Both sides were, I'm not going to get debate on who was worse, because I know what you're going to say, but that was not a debate that was an argument between two people measuring their dicks, one trying to say, I'm better than you, and the other one saying, ha, I got you. So here's what I've done. I've done a little bit of research, and I went to the University of Michigan, their Center for Research on Learning and Teaching, and I've got some debate rules. And I quite like these. I'll put them up for you now and have a look at this. Here is a debate rule. And think about what you've just heard when you hear these rules. So a debate rule. Listen respectfully without interrupting. Listen actively and with an ear to understanding others' views. Criticize ideas, not individuals. Commit to learning, not debating. Comment in order to share information, not to persuade. We'll come back to that one. Avoid blame, speculation, and inflammatory language. Allow everyone the chance to speak. Avoid assumptions. Do not ask individuals to speak for their perceived social group. Now, the point about commit to learning, not debating, it sounds funny because it's a debate, but comment in order to share information, not to persuade. That's what I'm talking about. It's like you are contributing to this to share information, not to persuade the other person. Let's be honest. Is a flat earther ever going to turn a globe person in a debate? No. Is a globe person ever going to turn a flat earther in one debate? No, it's not going to be the case. So you want to come to these debates and you want to actually go, this is my opportunity to influence an audience, right? Not to beat the other person. It's a pretty big difference with a very small tweak. I don't believe the earth is flat. However, I am open to hearing the conversation. One of the reasons I'm open to hearing the conversation is I like to understand why people believe what they believe, even if I don't agree with them. So just so you're clear, when I made the offer to Nathan, and this is the way that we will run our debates, this is a structure that I put forward as how we'd probably run it. Now, this might be tweaked slightly. It might not be the final, structure, but have a look as to how we want to run our debates. The moderator might open for a minute or two. The debaters introduce themselves for 2 minutes each. The opening statements by each debater get about 10 minutes, give or take. Not interrupted, no one else talks. Then each person gets 5 minutes to respond to the other person's opening statement. Again, uninterrupted with no talk. Then we go to a session of like a three-way conversation where I will moderate and be sort of in charge of asking questions of both parties and seeking clarification. We might get questions from the audience. We might allow the guys to do closing statements, the people participating. And then, of course, the moderator, which is me, would wrap it up in a couple of minutes. So that's sort of what we're going to try and do. Now, let me say this. As much as many of you who are not fans of Nathan Oakley will roll your eyes, I am still open to hosting Nathan Oakley in a debate. Nathan, I'm sure either you will see this or one of your people will. I'm offering an invitation to you. You cannot make any demands. You cannot say Catz can't do this, or this. You can come and get an unfettered, uninterrupted chance to influence the audience with your position and your ideas around why you believe the earth to be flat. You will get a fair crack from me. I've been doing this on some level in a mainstream radio and television way for a very long time. I'm about creating good content. I'm not about embarrassing people or taking them apart or eviscerating them, as many of you guys out there seem to be. So this is now a challenge directly to Nathan. The ball is in your court. I think this would be watched widely after all this hubbub. If you would like to come on, Nathan, and to be honest, whether you do or don't, is sort of neither here or there. But if you'd like to, the ball is in your court. You don't get to make demands. You don't get to have anything clarified before you start. You get a chance to put your position forward and influence an audience and tell them more about what you believe to be accurate when it comes to the earth and how it's presented. Is that the right word? I don't know. So that's it. We're going to be doing more of these debates. We haven't actually kicked off yet, but make sure, as I say, you like and subscribe, and you'll see when they're coming up. We've got a whole bunch of emails out at the moment, but because we're in lockdown in New Zealand, I think people are taking a bit longer to come back to us. If you know Nathan Oakley, I haven't actually asked Catz about this at all, to be honest with you, so I'm assuming he's still going to be in, but there is that caveat there as well. If you know Nathan Oakley, tell him this. Nathan, you have a chance to share your thoughts to an audience on why you think the earth is flat. Nathan, you have a chance to have a calm, rational, and reasonable three-way conversation that I will be moderating. And let me make this clear in case I get accused of being biased again. I don't believe the earth to be flat, but I'm a professional in what I do, and you will be given as fair a crack as can be expected. And also you will be welcomed and treated with as much respect as you give. Now, if Nathan chooses not to take up that invitation, that is 100% fine. There is no reason, I have no rights to demand any of Nathan's time. Nathan, you can not respond. You can respond with a no thank you. If you respond with anything that makes a demand, then that will be, as far as I'm concerned, you declining again. But if you are interested and would like to do it, and possibly we could break the little corner of the internet that the flat earth world sits in, then you have my details. I am more than happy to hear from you. Wherever you are in the world, stay safe, especially we're still on these COVID times. If you're a New Zealander watching this, then dudes and dudettes, wash your hands and stay inside. Still, the government tells you we can go outside. Hopefully we'll get back to watching the All Blacks in front of 30,000 people in the not too distant future. Hooroo team.